Live from America's home for motorsports, welcome race fans one and all back to Green Flag TV, where this afternoon we are set to duke it out for racing action once again here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. My name is Old Ramble alongside Scott Rankin. We're bringing you all of racing action from North Carolina for what will be the final race of the regular series season here this afternoon. Scott, after tonight, 10 drivers will be in and everybody else will be on the outside looking to fight it out for best of the rest. For now, it's a race who's going to be fighting their way into the top 10 shootout for the last 5 races of the season.
Stick the last couple of weeks, so I'm a little bit down on the form guide for what's been going on for a lot of these guys, and then off to Australia's greatest race next week as well. But this is one of the better ones in terms of how it's going to play out. Realistically, the Charlotte Roval, it's a race course that generally generates a lot of drama. But the biggest benefit is this is the new layout. And for me, this layout actually creates a lot more overtaking opportunities.
It's going to be interesting, right? That brand new hairpin leading onto the oval. The second time we've seen that in Green Flag TV history. The first time actually being just yesterday during the Premier Sim Racing Outlap Motorsports Truck Series. But we look at the point standings entering today, right? Ionoshu, Amberg, Mello, Major, Coat, reasonably locked in to the playoffs here this afternoon. The one big contender that is not Ryan Shelton. You might ask why. He's got 790 points. He is voluntarily withdrawing himself from the chase. He has had schedule changes that has meant he is not going to be allowed to, his schedule will not allow for him to race full time in the chase. He wants to give a spot up to somebody who can. And the next driver down the list and that would inherit that spot could very well be Joey Barrett here at the end of the night.
Yeah, and so there'll be somebody who's going to be a major recipient here and a major beneficiary of that, which is, you know, from Ryan Shelton, this is a big thing. I saw this announcement come out a couple days ago. The big thing for him is he still wants to keep going racing. So he was looking for a new series to go racing in, which is obviously disappointing for him here and in this series. But at the end of the day, it's not him giving up on racing. It's just him adjusting his schedule. And I think that's a big ticket for him as well. And also, I think, you know, the politeness, the courtesy that he's shown his fellow competitors, he's not... What that says is that's actually a big comment on not only his fellow competitors, but the series as a whole. He says, I cannot fully commit to and race this out, and therefore I don't want to take that opportunity away from somebody else. And that is such a mark of respect. I think we see that here in the Speed Cup each and every week. You know, everyone's out there, everyone's circulating, everyone's trying to look after each other, but there is never a better comment on the state of the racing, except for when somebody steps up and shows sportsmanship to this level.
Well, before we get to the main race in action this afternoon, I'm going to take a chance to give a shout-out to the folks that keep the lights on here for the Speed Cup Series. Tonight's race brought to you by Highline Die-Cast Collectibles, your go-to source for high-quality NASCAR die-cast and memorabilia. Whether you're hunting for the latest releases, rare finds, or looking to sell your own collection, they've got you covered. Plus, don't miss their live auctions every week on Facebook, where you can score incredible deals on must-have collectibles. Check them out and follow along at facebook.com/HLD Collectibles, where passion for racing meets collectible perfection. And of course, by Twisted Steel Steak Appeal. Twisted Steel Steak Appeal by Marty Pluto has a solid punch of sweet and heat flavor that lingers to let you know it's there. Marty Pluto is an award-winning Steak Cook-Off Association chef and has finally revealed his secret recipe rub to blow you away with flavor. Steak, veggies, fish, pork, and poultry. Twisted Steel Steak Appeal is a rub above the rest. Other sponsors include Bow Ties, Beer Street Journal, and Ryan Newman & Associates, powered by Remax Select. Take a look at the weather entering today, Scott. A lot of crosswinds with drivers contend with the wind for a moment a few seconds ago was up to 11 miles an hour on the racetrack. That is pretty fierce, especially at a low downforce road course like this.
Yeah, this is going to be tough, and like you said, minute and 22 seconds is the pole time that we've got in front of us as well. So there's going to be a lot of challenge here. The benefit of that cooler racetrack is that the tires are going to take a beating, but they're not going to take as much of a beating as they potentially could have. High wind speed, reasonably high wind speed as well, means that the cars are sort of blowing around. They do actually move around out in that racetrack. Cloudy weather is going to be a big benefit to the drivers out here. Biggest thing I was hearing a lot of talk and chatter about is wearing front tires. So expect that to be on the menu for the rest of the night as well.
Well, 30 seconds to go here before racing action kicks off for the main event here this afternoon. And, you know, we've been doing a lot of talking about what this track could potentially mean. Of course, let's take a look at that hairpin, right? This is the new one. Previously, the cars would come up the straightaway over to the left of this camera. They would come up and over the rise through a bit of a sweeping, arcing corner. Now they take a straight shot in and blast down to a near perfect 180-degree hairpin back onto the oval. Dive bomb attempts are going to be immense here this afternoon. And, well, it's time to figure out who's going to be making those dive bombs and from where and to where. We'll figure all of that out and more as we get set to go racing here this afternoon. Starting on pole position then this afternoon for us here for racing action, it is going to be the likes of Ryan Shelton, the driver that will be withdrawing from championship contention at the end of this race. Will start from position. He looks to go out with a bang. Well, the Tiltify Camry starts number 2 alongside him on the front row for FTF Racing. Row 2 on the grid, it's Kyle Holder for DDRT. He starts alongside Ethan Amberg for Highline Motorsports. With row 3 on the grid, holding the likes of Philip Scott and Zach Hinson. Matt Montembeau, the Canadian, brings it up in 7th. He runs alongside Nicholas Coe. Top 10 of the grid closed out by the Amazon number 32 of Ronnie Norman and Martin Plough.
Yeah, outside of the 10, though, we're going to get back to Jeremiah Vincent, who's going to be just ahead of Stephen Gibson down in 12th. Stephen missed his qualifying lap. There was an issue there for him. He was looking to be a lot further forward. Joe Barrett is having some issues in practice. He's going to be lining up alongside a Manazzi Major. Both of these guys at 4 seconds off the pace. You can see a number of drivers deeper in the field, significantly off the pace. Ryan Newman's right there. There's a clump of drivers right around that 4-second mark. Garrett Austin will be lining up alongside of him in the 34 machine to his outside, 16th spot on the grid for him. Stacey Hunter and Stan Hausman are going to round out 17th and 18th. Stan really struggling with the braking and turn-in performance on his Chevrolet. And running towards the 20th spot, last qualifying time set, Raby Keaton the 3rd, and Scott Leonard to round out the 20th. Scott is tonight's sponsor for the race event in the WTFMT Dinghy Lifts entry.
Row number 11 on the grid, it's Stephen Kirby. He starts alongside Zachary Cox over in the 22nd place spot. 23rd and 24th, it's Mark McFadden with John Motorsports alongside the Highline Motorsports driver, Nate Cotilla. Row 13 then, Jason Shield. He runs alongside Tim Branson. And the 28 car field headed out by Corey Hutchinson and Caleb Bass. So the field making their efforts around the racetrack. Cosmo Inosha will start his race from pit row. Being a 2-time winner, you cannot start your 3rd race. You cannot start the next race on the racetrack. You must make that pit road start. But with the pit road course, he's got quite a run ahead of him. Now, of course, as well as that tonight, there is, of course, that one guaranteed caution that will happen at a random point throughout the race, and that will mean 10 points will be awarded. The top 10 will receive points. It'll be a pseudo stage caution. That is a policy put in place exclusively for road courses. That is also going to shake up the running order, especially since for this initial restart, they're now taking that front chicane. They're driving straight on through.
Yeah, that's the big thing. That'll help the restart zone as well. So the big thing for these guys is you don't want to be sort of attacking the throttle on stone cold tires that have no flex in them going through that chicane. And so it just allows them to sort of line things up and run it straight at the restart zone. And it's just a better starting situation. Everyone's sort of a lot straighter. A lot of overtaking opportunities on the first lap as well. And if you go through the chicane, you sort of do take away a lot of those. It becomes much more difficult. You're going to be right, though. Big opportunity. First time you said the trucks were at it last night. Well, tonight, next-gen cars. Biggest thing for overtaking, what creates overtaking opportunities? Extending braking zones. If you have really short braking zones, difficult to overtake. You have longer braking zones and longer acceleration zones, traction zones where drivers can make mistakes. That's where you get overtaking done. So that's what we're in for tonight.
Well, the field going to work their way into turn numbers 3 and 4, or at least NASCAR turns 3 and 4. And as always, we are happy that you join us one final time for racing action.
Watch the wall here, Nolan. See that Charlotte? That's not Charlotte 4. That's Charlotte 14. They've rebranded the walls.
Look at that. Just like the number 14 car up on the outside line, the field will work their way in to the Toyota restart zone. And it's time to get the party started. Green flag is out. It's go for the regular season finale at America's home for motorsports. Already looking to go 3 by 3 wide into the opening corner. So
Oh,
for the lead, we've been taken out already. Ethan Amberg spinning around from number 2 on the grid.
How did the field get through? Well, they've just about dodged him. Everyone got through without contact with him. Amberg's still waiting there, though. Still cars coming. Cars going ahead and behind. Gets cleared. So he's gone from the lead all the way to the back. Cosmonai a no-shoot after feeding out of pit lanes ahead of him.
Unbelievable way to kick this thing off. Contact with Ryan Shelton is going to put him on the back foot big time early on. And now into the hairpin. Watch for the dive bombs. We're 2 by 2. Matt Montembeau trying to put it 3 with Philip Scott and Nicholas Code. They're going to be forced to swing this thing out wide. Still drivers going side by side. And overall, I'm actually surprised. This is where I thought we'd see the bottom of that. But no, we made it through clean.
Wow, did you see the 00 get off that corner as well? He went to the outside and he just shot out of there like a rocket.
No kidding.
So obviously he's found a way to get the power down off the hairpin. He's been able to make moves as a result of that one. He's up to 3rd, so great start for him.
Oh, hold on. Ryan Newman has just missed the chicane, jumps all the way across, and he just keeps it out of the safer barrier. A good job. And oh, now Caleb Bass going to get turned by Nico Tilla as he got sandwiched into the middle of 3 wide there. And now off of the final corner. Here comes the rest of the pack.
That was rough. That was. We need an onboard shot of that Ryan Shelton moment because, ladies and gentlemen, I think NASCAR just launched its first spaceship. How high that one got. That was airtime. He had hang time.
Oh yeah, for sure it was. Ryan Newman taking one heck of a launch there. Let's ride on board with the helmet camera of Shelton. Sorry, not of Shelton. You messed me up here. Of Ryan Newman, and well, that is a good distance after the fact. We'll take a look at this one coming off in NASCAR 2.
Yeah, this is gonna be a fun one. So obviously he's trying to make some moves, get his way through. Braking zone's right at the 7 mark. He does brake at a reasonable point in time, but the car just won't accept downshifts. Ooh. Bang!
He's lucky he didn't brake so that when he ran over that sausage curve on the inside. Those curves will tear up a race car.
Yeah, I think he got out of that quite okay.
Cosmonai Oshu was slated to start 28th at the back. He is already up to 17th in just a lap and a half. Ian Oshu right now in the Tiltify Camry is absolutely moving right now. And furthermore, Ryan Shelton has not been able to break away with the lead. The Ryan Newman and Associates Power Hour Remax Select Pole Award winner has been kept honest by Kyle Holden behind.
I think one of the interesting things as well is Ethan Amberg's also managing to go with Ian Oshu. So Holden's going to go ahead and set the fastest lap of the race. You can burn the tires off here, pressing just that little bit too hard. The other thing to consider is he is right up and underneath Ryan Shelton at the moment, meaning that he is not getting necessarily the cleanest run of air. Shelton definitely going to have the ability to look after those tires a lot better. But yeah. Oh boy.
Hold on. Zachary Cox, one of the newer drivers of the series, having a moment, and he's going to be run into by Scott Leonard, looking like Cotilla may have also had a bit of a spin. Tough break as more cars getting involved, and Cox just can't find a safe spot to back up because there really is no safe spot. Turn 1 really is the bane of a driver's existence to be caught out there, and it looks like Zach Henson may have been caught napping on the exit of the hairpin.
I think it's going to be a few moments like this. So I think that's Houseman that's cut through the front straight chicane. He was having a lot of issues with brakes in practice.
No, that was on throttle. He caught too much of the curb and just spun her up.
There's a little bit of a low point right as you sort of hit the bridge that takes you over the pit lane. So there's a little dip there, and I think the car's bottomed out there and just come around on him in the rear. See that? See how the cars are bouncing through one?
Yeah.
A little bit. Sometimes that can be the curb on the inside. Sometimes it's the gutter.
Garrett Austin attacking Venanzi Major into the final chicane, and Austin's going to successfully pick him off for the 12th place spot. Martin Pluta as well. He wants to try and get a run going as he is seeking to push to the back bumper of Stephen Gibson, who sits just up the road. Although with him bouncing over the grass, that's not going to do him much favors. I
think the biggest thing is just find yourself just some consistency and a hole to lock yourself into. Iron Oshie's obviously going to be aggressive. Amberg's going to be aggressive. Just be aware that those guys are coming. You're still going to watch your mirror and see and watch and wait for it. And just be aware of it. Hausman's struggling with his brakes. We got to do some adjustments to his. I was talking to him about it previous to the race. One of the things you can actually do is the stock brake master cylinders in these cars mean that you lock up tires at about 30-40% brake pressure. So by increasing the master cylinders, you're transferring less, increasing the size of the master cylinders, you transfer less pressure from the pedal through to the actual brakes themselves, which means your braking capacity is slightly reduced. All that means, though, is that takes your pedal pressure from, say, 30% to locking up all the way to about 60-70% locking up. It just gives you that ability to modulate the brake pedal and be a little bit more deft with it. Some drivers obviously like that feeling where they just want a light press on the brake pedal and that's all they're getting, but it just gives you no ability to sort of manipulate the pedal finely and create sort of fine adjustments in the pedal. So
Cosmo Inoshi continued to try to mount attacks on drivers further up the grid as he is now seeking to go after Garrett Austin here. Might have a look here into turn 3. And Inoshi is through. Pretty easy attack there into turn 3, and he'll get that momentum around by arcing the corner in turn 4. And powers down the little short chute here before hugging the right side into turn 5, 6, and beyond. So Inoshi already up to 12th place in just 5.5 laps. So Inoshi has been on a tear so far. However, he is still 23 seconds already behind Ryan Shelton. So yeah, he may be out here, but he hasn't exactly gained the time with the leaders, which is critical.
Yep. He's not losing time on the lead, really. He's just sort of maintaining, but the big thing is picking those guys off. It's so critical, but from here on out, the field actually massively spread out. One of the difficulties of road courses is they require such a fine finesse and practice level and ability to sort of adjust your driving, change your brakes, you know everything. Ooh, that's a bent race car and a lot of smoke. But yeah, which is why you end up with a vast field disparity. And remember, from pole position to the last qualifying driver was a 10-second time difference. That's very wide.
There's a lot of smoke on the exit of the corner, and I think he just spun himself out. So Scott Leonard did that to himself. And then seconds later, Jason Shu. I thought for a moment Jason Shu had an identical, but it looks like his damage came from a different incident earlier on in the race. Tonight, Ethan Amberg now trying to go around the outside of Garrett Austin. Amberg started on the front row. He is trying to regain all of that lost time. He started at the top 5 at least. He's now the inside of Austin. Pretty good attack there into the hairpin. He is through, and now Amberg slips to the 13th.
Yeah, and just ahead, I know she's just about to pick off Joey Barrett. Barrett's looking for points today. So he is really focused on moving his way forward. That's deep. Did you see the rotors glowing on the front end of that thing?
Oh, yeah. Right now, as you say, Joey Barrett would be the 10th driver into the playoffs. So that means that Tim Branson right now would be the first driver out. Because remember, Ryan Shelton will not be competing. So on the right-hand side, that is all of the points plus the first driver out. We are excluding Ryan Shelton from those standings here this afternoon. And it paints a bit of a picture, right? Branson, I don't think is going to be able to get there. I think Branson may have had it for the season.
Yeah, that's unlucky for him. He's a long way off. I mean, he would have been coming into this one knowing he would have had to put a lot of work in to make it happen. So
even really needed for Fluter Austin to not show up.
Yeah, that's about all he can sort of hope for. But, you know, funny things can happen. You know, they still can happen. It's still a road course. And for anyone who calls me a Kiwi, there is still bad luck hanging over them. So, you know, and a kid that might walk out on the road in front of Mountain Plute and pop some tires. We don't know.
Why an echidna? Why not a porcupine?
That's the wrath of the Australians, man. Did you know that there are two monotremes in the world, the echidna and the platypus. They're basically a hybrid between mammals and marsupials.
I'm going to pretend I know what a marsupial is and call it a day and act like I understood that reference.
Marsupials are things like rats, rodents. Kangaroos, by the way, are marsupials.
Oh, really? I don't believe it.
Yeah, so... No, they are.
I don't know what else they would be, but I think they'd be more mammal than anything, no?
Well, you would think that, but it's to do with pouches and the way they deliver milk is the big thing. Marsupials have pouches. Mammals do not.
Jason
the way they raise their young.
Is into pit road, and he looks to be done for the day after this moment as, oh boy, talk about going in hot right into turn 4 and careen right into the Bank of America tires and out of this race.
It's a left front bend. Yeah, I understand why he's done for the day. Nate Cotilla's also done for the day, by the way.
Oh no. Cotilla done for the day. Mark McFadden has just spun out of the final corner. So McFadden having some problems here, as are other drivers so far in the field. Ryan Shelton for the first time breaking out a massive gap. Something big has happened to Kyle Holden in the last couple laps or so, because, well, I say that, never mind. Kyle Holden has run Shelton back down. I think Shelton may have hopped across the front stretch chicane and got a slowdown penalty, because here comes Kyle Holden around the outside.
Now this is where you get cheeky about serving slowdown penalties. Is you just cover the inside. You've got to slow down a fair way. And he basically just gave Kyle Holden, he said, right, if you're going to overtake me, you've got to go the hard way round. And I'm still going to serve my penalty because we're going to be going side by side, which means we're slower through the corners. But that's cheeky. That's race smarts. If you just lie over and handle your slowdown penalty, you have to give that time back up. You absolutely have to give it up. Of that, there is no debate. But doing it the way that's easiest for your competitors means you got to go do all the hard work to get that spot back.
That's the thing, right? Serving a slowdown penalty, that's very black and white. How you go about serving it, a little bit of a gray area there, you could argue.
And Kyle would have known that. He went to the outside because, well, what's he going to do? Follow him through the corner?
Corey Hutchinson, Zachary Cox, and Arabia Caton almost going 3 wide in the middle of NASCAR 3 and 4 on the approach to the front stretch chicane. So there's a lot of shuffling going on to the back of the grid. And, well, Cox in too hot, and that's going to be... I'm willing to bet that's a reenactment of what we just saw happen to Ryan Shelton.
Yeah, probably. The cool thing about today's race, though, is that I was having a look at times prior to the race and practice and qualifying, and we actually had a good clump of drivers. Even though they were like 5 seconds off the pace, there was a group of like 5 drivers whose times were within a tenth of each other. Now, that's awesome for racing. That's exactly what you want. It doesn't matter what speed you run around the racetrack at. You got a bunch of drivers who are out there racing each other. That's what we're all about.
Oh boy! Right in front of the leaders, around goes Arabia Caton. Kyle Holden takes full advantage of the chaos. He slips right through the mess and into the lead.
And that was just opportunity presenting itself and putting him up. There is every reason that Kyle Holden sticks his nose in that situation and it goes wrong and he's done for the day. But he's out here to be aggressive and win races. Remember, he's not racing for playoff. Well, yeah, he's not had a season to remember. He's had a lot of bad luck go his way. But I can tell you for a fact that I've had a 40-lap duel with the man at the Chicago Street Course, and he will race you hard. But fair, very fair. You got to be aggressive, though. That's the thing about this racetrack is you cannot make the pass without being aggressive and looking for a little bit of opportunism.
And Ryan Shelton might be keen on trying to go after that lead again, as he is looking to get back around Kyle Holden right up the back bumper of the 88. Ryan Shelton is not letting Kyle Holden get away. Tim Branson rejoining the road from a slowdown. He's going to block the impact in turn 1. They both sweep around the outside and they get through with no contact. They'll have to do the same with Corey Hutchinson now just in front of them.
Where are you going to go? Pinch of a break for Holden. Hutchinson covers the inside. He's going to swing wide here, so they're going to turn it back, get the drive out. And Shelton's doing a little bit better of a job at managing the traffic, being smart about it, and Holden's just aggressive. That's the difference approach right now, is Holden's just being aggressive for the sake of being aggressive. He's going to get a bump.
Bit of a bump into the hairpin. Can Shelton pick him off? He's wide, but Shelton was too early now with a bit of a slip of the grip from Kyle Holden. Shelton's going to have the run coming all the way around through NASCAR 1 and 2, heading to the back straightaway. Shelton gonna have to look for the inside line. Here he goes, trying to go for the attack. No room. Contact, and off the road goes both of them. Kyle Holden
there was
hops
no
across.
Contact. There was actually no contact in that one. All that was, and you would have heard me saying show the nose. And the reason I was saying to Ryan Shelton show the nose is because it got Kyle Holden looking at him and not at his braking markers. And that's how that move got done. That move was nothing to do with speed. It's about disrupting the rhythm of the other driver.
Drivers already out here racing like it's the final lap, but we've still got 39 laps to go. Let's take a look at a couple of replays here. This is initially what happened to Kyle Holden and how he got through for the lead. As, man, talk about unfortunate circumstances there. Arabia Caton just being caught up right in the middle of that deal. And then when all this was...
the cross? I wonder whether or not, because it nearly looked like Shelton's car snapped in the side. So this one's... I reckon Kyle Holden, both of these guys have missed their braking markers on the run of this chicane. And that's the big key. You watch the wall. So this is back live. This is the replay again. But the big key is watch the wall here. 6 and 7. They both sort of dive on the anchors about the same time. And you actually see Shelton probably comes off the brakes fractionally. Too much curb. If he nails that corner, he's through. He's disappeared. He's up the road.
Yeah.
But all of that stemmed from the fact that Shelton got a much better run off the hairpin. And then he just moved around. And if you follow a guy through a corner... Oh... that one's making the garage.
That is Scott Leonard, who has unfortunately found himself in with trouble. The Spider Motorsports number 19 will be done for the day, and this comes after a pretty brutal lick into the wall for the number 19. Take a look on what happened here. This was coming into turn 1. And into Hania, lost the rear and slammed right into the safety barrier. That car came to a dead stop, and that's a dangerous spot to be stopped at as well. Good job with the field for getting around it. Yeah.
So all that move for the lead, that's disrupting the rhythm. So the big thing about this racetrack is you can be 3/4 of a second faster than a driver, and if he just plants the car in the wrong spots, there is nothing, absolutely nothing you can do about it. But if you're moving around, that pass got set up because Shelton was moving him around, and that started all the way back in the first sector and got done at the back chicane. That's road course racing. You don't show up on the scene and just get the pass done. No, you show up, you harass that driver, and he puts Kyle under a lot of stress. Kyle was overdriving the car. I think Kyle's actually faster at the moment. I think he's got better tires, but he was so focused on the driver in his rear view mirror, he missed his braking marker, and it made it so much easier.
Ronnie Norman under fire from Martin Plout, who's going to sweep through with the Twisted Steel Stake Appeal, number 81. So Plout's able to fight past. And Ronnie Norman, all he'll be able to do is just try and get back after him as he heads down the straightaway. Stephen Kirby and Joey Bear, 2 other cars that are close there, just getting around Arabia Caton, some lap traffic. Oh, hold on, big lockup from Garrett Austin behind to avoid wiping out Caton at the apex.
I think everyone's just starting to settle into their rhythms and spread out a little bit at the moment.
Right now, this battle here, the closest one on the racetrack for 14th and 15th. And it is a fight that is going nowhere anytime soon. So these 2 drivers, they're having a time of it here, and they are not keen on letting it go.
I know she's back to 10th, by the way.
I know she's moving so well today, right? Again, had to start that race from pit road, and critically, every spot that he picks off now helps him out. Because remember, the yellow, the comp yellow for the stage that's randomized, that we don't know when it's happening, but it is a guarantee that it is happening. So every spot that he picks off now is one step closer to being to Ryan Shelton when we go back green.
The thing is, he's just got this queue of cars right here. So he's 10th and all the way up to 6th. So effectively 4 cars just ahead of him. So he doesn't want to see the stage until after he's passed all those cars. And the reason for that is that gives him, he's ahead of those cars on the restart.
Track position at the Roval, so critical, right? It always is. I mean, this track is tight. It is unforgiving. We've seen several drivers underestimate it. And the track bites back hard. Always has. So you gotta always make sure that you're keeping your wits about you. Ryan Shelton under fire now as Kyle Holden, them out about 5 laps, has run down 1.3 second gap. I think you're right. I think Kyle Holden is the quicker car. Shelton's just got that defense game figured out.
Yeah, so again, he's just sort of got to get there and again do exactly back to him what Ryan Shelton did to him. So it's now get there and apply that pressure. And he's made mistakes. Both of these guys have made mistakes so far. So they're not immune to that. And this is such a difficult package to drive. He's just going to be persistent. Do you give up track position and go for an early stop? I think this race is a one-stopper. It is my understanding right now.
You reckon?
And if that's the case, you're sort of going to pit right around the middle of the race. I think fuel mileage is going to be about 28, 30 laps. But I'm undercutting.
Undercut where you can. Honestly, if you can pit to the halfway, if you can make it to the halfway point, why not just pit at the halfway point at that point in time, right? As Matt Montembeau looking like he went in hot. He's got a Southern, he's got a serve, and that is stacking up a few cars behind. We got a bit of a mess here. 8th, 9th, and 10th. Martin Plout, Cosmo Inoshu, and Rodney Norman, all 3 cars here for position. Oh, and Plout's too wide. He's going to clip the wall. Oh, and we got 1 car out of the background. Corey Hutchinson has been spun while Inoshu fights his way through.
Yeah, Hutchinson's back to 22nd, sorry. I think he's just towed a pit lane. He lost that car on his own, and he was just in a compromised position. He's had enough. He's done for the day.
He's already 1 lap down, back at 24th place, and oh boy, Stacey Hunter just about got involved in that as well as he slid back across the racetrack. 11th place runner Rodney Norman has been involved in this, and how about this? Remember, you talk about Amberg following Inoshu. Well, Amberg right now only 1 car between he and Inoshu, and it is Martin Plout in that 81.
Yeah. Yeah, it's he's certainly been working away at a bunch of these guys. He's picked them off. Montembeau is about 1.5 seconds up the road. He was about 6/8 tenths of a second faster than him on the last couple laps, so he's certainly making inroads. Something just happened to Zach Hinson.
He's pitting.
I think he might have just pit. Yeah, but that car's bent.
And he's
hit the barriers.
Indeed pitting. So issues for Hinson. And we'll try to find out why. Well, the car's clean entering the chicane, and that's way too much speed up over the curb and hard into the fence. And that'll do it.
The disc just glowing. He was trying all he could. He was hard on the brakes trying to get that thing to pull up.
Does iRacing register brake fade, or is that not something they have implemented yet?
No, not something they have
yet.
No, we just have tire fade.
Yeah, some drivers clearly being kind of put to the ringer here. Watch Montembeau trying to go after Steven Gibson in that number 47. Well, the cookout machine struggling against the Rush Trek Enterprises number 28. Montembeau in one of his best performances we've seen out of him so far all season long.
Yeah, I mean, he's been there and thereabouts, hasn't he? I think he's been a touch unlucky, touch aggressive, touch too passive. You know, he's been both sides of that coin, I think, at different times throughout the season. It's been difficult to get a read on him because he's been struggling to just have consistent races. You know, speed has definitely been good, but putting it all together has not necessarily been his strength at the moment. To see him do well on a road course is actually a big comment right now.
Welcome on board as well to any viewers that are tuning in from the Premier Sim Race, from the Average Joe Sim Racing League. They just concluded their season opener down in the Sunshine State at Daytona. I know she fights his way around Montembeau and now looks set to pick off Steven Gibson up the road from him. I know,
This
so
is
a man on the
fifth.
mission. He's gonna, I think you called it out, right? Putting him into the top 5 here.
Yeah, so next spot on the road, Stephen Gibson, he will be 5th when he picks him off. I don't think it's an if he picks him off. I think it's a when. I think Gibson knows that. But again, he's just fighting. You know, he's just trying to keep it running. And for Gibson, he started out in 12th spot. He's up to 5th. This is a great day at the office. Trouble on the back straight? Was this Bass? It was indeed Bass.
Caleb Bass having problems at that backstretch chicane. We'll take a look at what happened there in just a moment as Montembeau just spun it in the chicane. Montembeau locked the rears on the way in, I think, and that's going to be a very costly mistake from Montembeau. Drops him all the way back to 10th.
He was in a reasonable spot heading into that one too, so unfortunate. You can just see how slow these guys are starting to have to go through some of the sections of the track with the tire wear.
And this was Bass, or this was on the lead up to the backstretch chicane. The car's already got some damage on it. Kind of clips the apron, lets Stan Hausman through up on the high side, lifts out of the throttle just a tick, and then just went straight across.
Yeah. Well, see, there was a very telltale wiggle. The car sort of crawled its way into the chicane, so he had a rear lock, and that's what unsettled him. I know she's really struggling, by the way, to get by Stephen Gibson. He's sort of gotten up to him, and then it's not as if Gibson's blocking and doing anything. It's just I know she's struggling to read the speed, and I'm starting to see him lock a lot of fronts. At one point, his gap back to Ethan Amberg was out of 5 seconds, just because he got first dig at the traffic and cut his way through. Since he's been behind Stephen Gibson, that margin's down to less than a second.
It's not going to stop him from trying still. We know he can get through one way or another. He is the quicker of these two cars, but like Kyle Holden further up the road, just hasn't been able to realistically be as effective at going on offense here. And Kyle Holden, at the end, he's all over the back of Ryan Shelton, but he just can't do anything about it. I know Shua, by the way, thought he got through from moment, but no, Gibson took it right back.
He had a huge moment on the way into the chicane. And that's what, oh, gee whiz. Holden just about sent that one into the infield. Got away with it. But again, you get up here, you heat up your tires doing that, burning them off, and then you kind of can't do anything with them, and then you have a moment like that, and you're going to do all that work again. It is so much easier to lose time than it ever is to gain it back.
And on attack, Ethan Amberg now trying to actually fight back against Cosmo Inoshi here. Put him side by side, and for the first time, Ethan Amberg going to drive around Cosmo Inoshi, and Ryan Shelton is in pit road. And this looks like it's a scheduled stop. Shelton might be going for 2.
We're going for 2 though, so got to touch long. Although the reason to run long, I think you've got to run this tank dry, at least this first tank dry. And the reason that you run the first tank dry is if that stage happens immediately after you pit, you're done. Forget it. So that's why you need to stay out. The other problem we've got right now as well is that the entire field is spread out across the entire racetrack. It's going to take us like 2 or 3 laps.
Oh!
Pick back up. I know she's really struggling with the brakes now.
Oh, look out. Martin Plute as well. Shot across the track and nearly ran into the 24 as he was trying to rejoin.
Phil Scott's also on pit lane. So yes, I reckon this is the window on fuel.
So that confirms that it's a 2-stop race tonight, around 20 and 40 for drivers in the field, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a whole host of them coming in this time by.
And this is just one of those interesting ones now. So the big thing is stone cold tires are slower than old tires, but not by much. So this is a good lap for Kyle Holden. He will actually be net ahead right now. The problem is by the end of this lap, he'll actually be net behind. So the overcut by 1 lap is generally the preferred strategy because you get the track position ahead, but then you've got to hold the guy off whilst you're on cold tires, and that is not easy.
They've also still got other drivers trying. You never know, right? You could have drivers that have been saving fuel this whole stint, and they might be trying to push it to the halfway point, see if they can cut out a splash and go right at the end. As here comes Gibson and Amberg into pit road, and we're about to get a party down to pit lane. There's Ronnie Norman in from behind, alongside, I think it's Arabian Caton to the inside that is also in. So 4 more come down to lap 22.
Just curious how long Holden's going to go, because if he can go to 25 and cut that stop out, that's immense. And remember, if he goes to 25 on the first run, the stage yellow's in the second half of the race. He can get home from there. I just don't see a world where Shelton can get home on the one stopper even with the caution. You cannot save that amount of fuel. He will have to make a secondary stop.
Race leader Kyle Holden comes down pit road. Now here's the question. Does Kyle Holden exit in front or behind Ryan Shelton? Shelton is only out of 17 seconds back. And he is fully up to speed, so Shelton is closing quickly here. Trying to see if he's got the effort in him to go for the attack. Holden's still sitting in his box, but Shelton's got to navigate through that front stretch of chicane. The car behind him going to hop across. I think that was Ryan Newman. And Shelton, into turn 1, just now makes the overtake. And Holden has lost any ground he possibly had on making that time up.
Now, the margin's about 4.5 seconds after that pit stop, so Shelton did get it back. Where's Amber got his way back to? He is doing supreme at the moment. I know she's still not pit yet either.
And Stephen Kirby has just had a moment. As Joey Barrett is coming down to pit road this time by Matt Montembeau into pit road. And this... Oh, hold on. There was a completely separate incident here before the spin.
Yeah.
And, he locked the rears on the way in. Did that all to himself. He runs into Kirby, and then Kirby, who is down pit road right now, then has the following crash into the backstretch chicane of the same lap.
I think we're just getting to that point whereby everyone's just tires are second hand, grip second hand. It's actually very difficult to pick up the grip level on cold tires after you've been on hot ones, because the feeling's completely different. Cold tires just give out immediately. Old tires, they'll you have some feeling, you have some drive, but it's different. It's a completely different feeling.
Well, and you got to remember, right, as well, the fresh tires, I mean, it's a brand new sensation going into the car. The old tires, you at least can predict it because you've been running them for the last few laps. You felt every little bit over the last few laps. It can be jarring to be put in on fresh tires, and remember, it's like, holy cow, I'd forgotten how much grip fresh tires had. You don't really realize how much time you lose until you get back on the fresh rubber.
And then it feels amazing, and you're like, man, I want to feel like this forever. It doesn't last.
No, it does not.
Much like getting older, it does. Yeah, being young is great. It does not last. Man, Inoshu got to the end of 23, so he got to the start of 24. He gets a caution, he'll make it. Yeah, and yes, I am speaking from experience.
You are speaking from experience. Okay, I just wanted to clarify. I wasn't going to say anything until you answered.
Yes. Trip to Melbourne recently. I stayed out all night. I got home and told the partner immediately, I'm never doing that again. My body can no longer withstand such youthful behaviors.
Stan Houser will pit in from 16th, while the race leaders working through the infield section, and Ryan Shelton getting set to send us on to our second half of the race. So the yellow flag that is going to come out at some point it's going to be happening in the back half.
The big thing is, if it happens in the back half, but it's 5 laps from now, I'm still coming for fresh tires. There's such an advantage.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you're pitting for fresh tires no matter what. Even if they're back in the field, you're probably pitting for fresh tires because, I mean, what do you have to lose? You're at the back.
Well, the big thing is getting your lap back is so much more important than fresh tires. Would be the thing that I'm talking about. So, you know, I would rather take, because remember, a lap around here is a minute 20, minute 28, somewhere in that range. But fresh tires, they are going to cost you, you know, a second a lap. Well, there's only 20 or so laps left to go on this thing. A minute and 20 seconds is worth more than 20 seconds. So that would be my approach to the situation.
Art McFadden,
by the way,
looking like he may have just had a bit of a moment at the back straightaway chicane. And yes, he has. That is way too hot, and he's going to miss the tires and go into the safety barrier.
Yeah, so it's now just thinking about the second half of the race and what you're going to do with it. For the bulk of the field here, there's a second stop, and that's why Ryan Shelton took the big swing early. But I can tell you, Carl Holden took 0.8 of a second out of him on the most recent lap.
Oh boy. Sorry to cut you off. Martin Pluto was attacking Cosmo Inoshi through turn 1 and just got really sideways coming up over the hill. And he was able to wrangle it together, but having a bit of a close call there off of 1. Not something you want to be seeing all that often.
Well, I reckon we are going to end up with a battle for the lead. And the big thing for Kyle as well is we saw him struggle to make that overtake with similar age tires, just different ways of going about the driving style and less wear on them. I think the smartest thing he could have done for his race was go as far as he possibly could on those tires. It is only a 2-lap difference, but that is so much more of a difference than coming at somebody with the same age tires. And remember, we were saying, you know, if you place the car correctly, you can hold somebody off with, you know, 6-7 tenths worth of excess pace. Well, it's a lot harder to do that when that guy's got tires underneath him as well, you know.
You see the last 3 lap times for comparison, and especially at lap 25, right at the halfway point, Kyle Holden really ran him down by a bunch. I think Holden right now being actively held up by lap traffic, which would explain why he is not making as much ground as he was before. Cosmo Inoshi slips past Steven Gibson. That will put Inoshi back into the 6th place spot. Kirby, meanwhile, trying to attack Jeremiah Vincent for 11th on the racetrack. But there is Kyle Holden, and yeah, he's got to stay solid right in front of him. You see a couple lap cars that just got around right behind him.
Yeah, he had a lot of issues last lap with lap traffic. I'm very curious how he navigate this safety contest situation. Because compared to last lap, this is actually less traffic. And he'll pull in the inside to get this one done now, but that's still a little bit of time that he lost. And the thing is, with passing lap traffic is, it hits you, you know, a lap later with the distance that Carl is back from Ryan Shelton at the moment. So Shelton will lose a second, and then he'll gain it all back on the very next lap, just because that's the way the traffic rolls.
Right now, only 10 cars remain on the lead. Lap 2 of them just exchanged positions, being Martin Pluto and Steven Gibson, and Ronnie Norman back in 9th. Wants to try and have a go as well. So Norman trying to close up to the back of number 47, but again, Steven Gibson, he is not a driver that's been willing to give up any spots tonight. Mark McFadden again into the wall.
Yeah, he's just trying to survive at this point in time. And you see, I know, Shoes just got so much speed. Great job driving it back from Gibson. Great crossover. That's how you get it done.
And that's how Ronnie Norman closed right back in as well.
I think Ionoshu in that first when he fell off the cliff at the back end, it was front tires. It wasn't his rears that were causing him issues. It was the fronts. So if I'm in his shoes, I'm actually taking the brake bias back 1%, 0.5% is probably all it needs. But he's definitely aggressive on how much front axle braking he is doing. And remember, this is the car that's causing the most problems. And the big thing is, this is nearly worthwhile watching from Ronnie Norman's perspective. Because you see these guys close up, go at each other. But the critical thing is, when we get down to these slower corners, watch for the puffs of smoke that are coming off of Cosmo Ionoshi. That's a locked brake. Locked brakes, there's a big issue.
Yeah,
lots of them.
Oh, there he goes. Just out wide. He's going to be forced to give that spot up. No way Iris is going to let him keep that one from Stephen Gibson. Yeah, they see him down to the apron. And
something's happened.
He's coming to pit road.
Something happened to him. That might have been a brake failure, or a pedal, or a wheel. That's because when he got onto the brakes in that corner right there, the car just left, right, whilst he was in the braking zone. That's why he missed the corner. There's an additional issue with that car than what we saw.
Ionoshi into pit road. Ronnie Norman still looking to attack Stephen Gibson. Oh, here we go. Big look to the inside. Gibson having to fend this one off the long way around, but that gives him the inside for the hairpin. He's just got to be careful not to overshoot. Park the car on the apex. But Ronnie Norman gets the over-under on it. No, he doesn't. Gibson with the drive off the corner, and he's through.
Yeah, so again, patience and setting it up. And again, the other thing I'm doing is, even though I'm not overtaking him right here, I'm moving around just a little bit.
And Stanhausen saw him wiggling left, right into the wall. He takes Ryan Newman with him, and then Hausman going on to take a tow to pit road from there. So he was assisted off the racetrack. Approaching 20 laps to go here, Scott, and that yellow flag, every single lap it goes by, it gets closer and closer.
I know she's still in pit lane. He is not returned to the racetrack.
I know she may very well be calling the quits. I don't blame him. You know, it's a case of, you know, you're locked into the chase already. If you're not having fun, I can understand not wanting to be out there anymore. It's like, you know what? I'm not enjoying this. I've already done everything I need to do. No point in continuing.
The biggest thing for him, don't win 3 in a row to start the playoffs. What's the penalty for winning 3 in a row? You wouldn't starting from pit lane?
No, I think it's just he started back again. It's either started technically it started the back, but he opted to start from pit lane instead.
He did, yeah, you're right, he did. It worked for him to that point. It gave us something to watch. So he cut his way back through the field.
Yeah, right now Ronnie Norman looking to pressure Stephen Gibson. And here we go. Gibson's got an issue. And Norman actually having to lift because he wasn't prepared to attack him into the front stretch chicane. It is arguably a much riskier chicane to attack into as well. Because they're coming off of that banking there. Well, that lets Gibson stay out in front for at least one more lap.
Yeah, so now where's he going to have a crack at him? He lost a lot of time, so... really curious. Ethan Amberg's going to get clean track here for a couple of laps. Just want to keep an eye on what he's capable of to Nick Cope, because that'll give us sort of a gauge of when we do finally get this stage caution, what he's capable of. But remember, Amberg's only back here because he went for a move in the first turn. It didn't work out.
Yeah, he's all the way back in 5th place, 44 seconds behind the leaders. But again, that gap will be neutralized. And this is a driver that started in the 4th place spot. He's got reasonable pace to be fighting for spots in the top 5. It's more just matters have not fallen his way tonight, I think would be the generous way. of putting it, but he's been making the most of it, right? He's been fighting his way steadily back to the field more and more and more, and now he looks set to try and get 10 for a top 5 if he can catch up to Nicholas Cote.
Well, I mean, he's already in that top 5, so this would be for top 4. He just took half a second out of him. And Amberg was right there with the leaders for pace on that lap. That margin between Holden and Shelton's actually expanded. I think traffic's just not helping Kyle Holden the last couple laps. But they've actually probably got about 2-3 laps here worth of clean track. So we will get an opportunity to see what their pace is like now.
Further behind, Garrett Austin and Joey Barrett seeking to try and keep up the charge as Austin, oh boy, closing right to the back bumper of Joey Barrett. And I thought he was going to run him over. Well, he gets loose out of the chicane, and that will actually get him the fall victim to Nicholas Cote. The 4th place runner goes by on the inside.
Yeah, it's just smart driving. Obviously not racing each other as well, I think is the big key in that one. So just being smart with how you place the car as well. Garrett's trying to track down Joey Barrett at the moment as well. So if he can be reasonably smooth and quick, he is capable of taking time out of Barrett. I do want to stress, Nolan, these cars are actually, to be perfectly honest with you, I find the V8 supercars much easier to drive on a road course because they're not quite so stiff and they don't bounce as much. These cars are very difficult to take curbs. They're very stiff, so don't deal with the changing elevations all that well.
Hear me out. It's almost like these are cars that are not meant to run on road courses, and V8 supercars are.
Sure, but there's a lot more to it, and it's in the you're right, because that has led to some of the decisions about the mechanical design and concept of the cars and the aero platform of the cars. Holden's going to be the one to undercut here.
Interesting play from Kyle Holden, wanting to maybe see if he can make something happen on fresh tires here. Now, this is relatively early in this stint. He pitted all the way at lap 21 the last time through. This time only going 11 laps in, so he's looking to kind of split up this final stint and keep himself on fresh tires for longer. It will be a set of 4 that goes on to the sim wrap marker number 88, and away he goes.
Interesting. Yeah, you wouldn't take 2 tires on a road course. You do actually want the car working at all 4 corners. So the big thing, but yeah, the big thing for me is how you play it out, how you're smart about how you go about the racing. Ryan Shelton, if he just pits this very next lap, he completely and utterly covers off Kyle Holden. So I just do it. You had a 4-second margin before the pit stop. You pit this next time by, you're probably going to pop back out with a 4-second margin.
Well, we'll thank some more of the guys to get the lights on here for the Cup Series as Ryan Shelton comes down pit road. Tonight's race brought to you by Beer Street Journal, one of the largest online collections of original content dedicated to covering beer culture, education, and the advancement of the beer industry. With thousands of articles and millions of unique visitors and exposure in over 200 countries, Beer Street Journal is paving the way to enabling category growth, engaging a broader consumer base, and promoting better tasting beer for years to come. BeerStreetJournal.com, the best in beer. One of these to wear a bow tie, no strapping, just slide it over the top button of your shirt and go. It's great for all ages. Get yours today at bowties.org. And by Ryan Newman & Associates, powered by Remax Select. They believe that finding your dream home should be an exciting and seamless experience. Serving all of Michigan, their dedicated team brings years of expertise and a commitment to personalized professional service that makes buying or selling a home simple and stress-free. Whether you're a first-time buyer, seasoned investor, or looking anywhere in the United States, they can help by referring you to top professionals across the country. Trust Ryan Newman & Associates to guide you every step of the way. Your future starts there. Go make it a reality. All of this and more, of course, Highline Diecast Collectibles coming back on board for yet another season here for the Speed Cup Series. And, of course, got to thank Twisted Steel Steak Peel for their contributions since season number 1 of this championship as well. Ronnie Norman gets around Nicholas Cote out of pit road.
Yep.
Or has he? No, he hasn't.
Tricky one.
And Norman might be playing the savior, right? Because he knows he has yet to stop, and he doesn't really want to be pitting when he's got a guy in fresh tires right behind him.
I had Oshu's come back out on the racetrack. I have no idea. Did he catch the wall or something? Because his pit stop was 4.5 minutes.
Not that I'm aware of.
He dropped him on laps. He's 3 laps down now. That makes no sense.
Philip Scott down pit road for what will be his final pit stop of the afternoon. And the fight's on for 12th. Joey Barrett, Garrett Austin. Once again, nose to tail within 2/10 as they came out with the final chicane, and it's going to extend down the front.
This one's just going to keep going for a while, I think. Austin has been tracking him down relatively consistently. Now what's he going to do when he gets close? Man, this has been a tough race. Very, very tough race. We had 29 cars out here to start.
You're not even kidding. 28 cars to start, and we are down to 24, yes, but only 12, make that 11 of those, are actually on the lead lap right now. So it has been a pretty attrition-filled race, but at the same time, you know, a lot of the attrition has more been single car spins, not as many hard hits. But that said, there's not many cars out there that can boast that they've still got a clean race car out there.
Yeah, it's been difficult, and like we said, cars getting away from guys. Oh, there's another retirement. We were just talking about, you know.
Zach Cox also hit the incident limit with that spin as well, so he is going to be done for the day. Kai Holden do fastest lap of the race.
He is trucking. Absolutely trucking. 23.2. Good lap time. I wonder what we'll see in a reply from Ryan Shelton. Shelton, by the way, leads down to just 2 seconds.
I've seen a lot of cars do that, getting loose out of turn 1 there, just on the power.
It's the gutter, man, I'm telling you. The rear tires are just not in the track there. It's a very difficult concept to describe because that's a feeling, right? That's a feeling that you can only get if you're a driver. And one of the big things is, you know, that feeling's different across the. It's a concept we actually spend a lot more time talking about in NASCAR than we do anywhere else. But I've had a lot of cars when you start getting into the open setup side of things, and you talk about the tire is just not in the racetrack. And what we mean by that is it feels like the tire is sort of skipping across the surface. When the tire is planted and pressed into the racetrack, you can feel what that tire is kind of doing. But what's happening is as they go through the gutter is that the center of the car is hitting the ground. And that means that all the weight, instead of, normally when your car's sitting nice and flat, you have 4 contact patches and it's the 4 tires. When you add a 5th contact patch to that takes weight off of the other 4 corners. And well, you don't get grip from metal on road contact.
I mean, there are skid plate races, but anybody that's watched a skid plate race will tell you the grip is not the first word that comes to mind, especially when you've only got 2 driven wheels in contact with the road surface. The back end kind of tends to do whatever it does, as Nicholas Coate went out, take the pit road, locks it up, and it may have just slowed it down in time to avoid being caught for speeding.
Well, I'll give you an alternative concept. Speedway slider boots. Metal pieces that you attach to the bottom of motorcycle racing boots so that you can skate them across the surface without having your foot ripped off, is basically what they amount to. Speedway bikes are wild. You hold that thing wide open and just slide it.
We're talking about the dirt oval bikes, right? Like the 4 bikes, 4 laps.
100%.
I've been dying to like try to get more into that sport. There's nowhere to watch it up here in Canada.
There's back when I was at my peak, we were sort of trying to get me a few more different rides. I'm very, very good when I was young, and this is Australia, by the way. This is not overseas. I was very good at the short flat style racing, not just ovals. The national title I did actually win was actually on an oval circuit, by the way. But I was very good at left and right base tracks. They call them dirt tracks. And what a dirt track is not necessarily a dirt track. I went racing on an oil track that was labeled a dirt track, and dirt track's the configuration type. It's generally 4 corners to the left and 1 back to the right, or 4 corners to the right and 1 back to the left. So basically the dirt track is all your corners go one way with a dog leg on them, is the way that they were built. But I was very good at sliding, maintaining speed while sliding the bike, which a lot of people weren't great at. And yeah, it was one of the things we were looking at, was getting me a Speedway ride. Junior Speedway starts with 125s, I think at about 10 to 12. But you have to pass a very specific license test. Part of that license test is actually crashing the bike safely. I'll have you know.
Oh, okay, wow.
Well, Speedway bikes don't have brakes.
Oh yeah, well of course, yeah,
So you needed to learn to lay the bike over and get away from it without injuring yourself.
Interesting. I'm sure many parents were very harrowed when they heard that was going to be a part of it.
It's just a skill. It's an important skill. Yeah, it's a safety skill. So.
Well, Kyle Holden has been really running down Ryan Shelton the last several laps. He's been resetting the fastest lap time and time again, and lap 38 closed in by 1.1 seconds. Lap 36 closed by 1.7 just about. So Kyle Holden has found that second win, and he is right up the back bumper now, Shelton.
Yeah, let's come back to each other. Again, I just want to... The thing I think from Shelton's perspective is he had a 4-second margin, and it looks like he's really been taking it easy. I do wonder from his perspective whether or not he went, well, I've got 4 seconds. Let's just basically make sure I don't spin this thing whilst I'm bringing the tires in. And in the meantime, Kyle Holden just set a new fastest lap of the race. He set new fastest lap of the race the last couple laps, so, you know, trying to drag him back in, really.
Well, he's going to keep up the effort because Ryan Shelton could be vulnerable the next couple of laps. But remember, you also have that mandatory competition yellow that it still is yet to hit.
No way we're going to get the final 10 laps.
We're going to get the final 10 laps.
I have a feeling the series might have forgotten about it. There's no way it's in the final 10 laps.
I mean, when we ran at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, when this rule was first brought into place, it came out with 4 laps to go. We went into overtime. The Chicago Street Circuit race, that race, it came out with about 5 laps left. Had a 2-lap dash.
There's no way. There's no way. Not this late. We need to get it out of the way so we can actually go racing.
Well, for now, the battle's going to continue on as Kyle Holden has reeled in another 0.2 of a second that last lap by. Corey Hutchinson has had a pretty big incident, and he has now been forced into pit road. Take a look at this one here as just going to lose back end right out of pit road and slam into the wall and slide to a stop.
Surprisingly, I've been doing that all week in GT3 practice. Petit Le Mans this weekend. And I've done that in about 5 separate different manufacturers of GT3 this week, just trying to test which one's the right one to be in.
Well, that comp yellow is still nowhere in sight. There is, to my knowledge, there is no rule on when it has to come out. It just has to come out at some point. And every lap that ticks by is going to make the final laps of this race even more frantic.
I think the big thing is, if you think about the ovals, it was like, what, the final 5 laps of the race? We can't have the debris caution? I wonder whether or not there's another sort of similar.
Maybe not within the final 5 laps. That still leaves about 3.5 laps for that yellow to come out. critically, what a yellow flag would do right now, this actually helps out quite a few drivers, right? Because guys like Gibson, Norman, Montembeau, they can come down and get fresh tires. I'm not so certain that Shelton and co have the tires left to come down again, because they've already made their second pit stops for 4 tires. And yeah, can't confirm, they don't have any tires left. So if a caution comes out right now, they are screwed effectively.
Well, that would explain Ryan Shelton's pace, maybe. Because remember, he's not being quick.
He's backing off. He's trying to save the tires because he knows that yellow's coming. And he knows he's going to be on the back foot. So he's saving gas in the tank for later.
He's just trying not to burn him off. Yeah, that would make a lot more sense. As soon as we get this comp yellow, that will change things significantly.
Riding on board with Kyle Holden as he continues to mount the pressure on the 99. And I think Shelton might be driving just quick enough to try and keep Holden behind, unless Kyle Holden is also saving his tires, because he also realizes what is right now imminent. But for now, he keeps Shelton firmly within his windshield as the closest battle on the racetrack. Same for Stephen Kirby and Garrett Austin, who are also going at about the same distance apart.
It'll be an interesting one, I think, to the end of this race. Yeah, you're right, for a few different spots. Amberg seems to have stabilized now. He has taken time out of Gibson. In fact, Gibson's had a really bad last couple of laps.
Oh boy. Oh, Kyle Holden spun it! Holden's just lost it in the front stretch chicane! Right to the back of the shot, and that is not going to do him any favors on the restart. Pushing too hard, and now he's lit the tires up, and he doesn't have any left to replace him on at the caution. Yeah. That might be a race-ending decision right there for him.
Well, I tell you what, Stephen Gibson's actually not made his second pit stop yet. So I was just taking a look around. The reason Gibson's doing a great job is, yeah, he's still got a set of tires to go.
Martin Plug going around and went hard into the wall, and then quite literally seconds later, Kyle Holden locks the rears and loses it in the same corner.
I'm gonna go ahead and say to Ethan Amberg on that one, if you're going in hot into a corner, just cut it. Don't try and make the corner. That's the worst thing that you can do.
Oh, Jeremiah Vincent locks in dub. He goes in hot, and Stephen Kirby slips through at turn 3. Picks off Jeremiah Vincent, so the Napa Auto Parts number 8 will drop back to the final spot inside the top 10. Forced to come down to pit road was Ryan Newman. He could not stay out on the racetrack any longer. And we have now got 6 laps to go at the line. Ronnie Norman couldn't make it back. He's in a pit road.
Yep. That's unfortunate for him. Luke's just barely fallen off the lead lap as well. Norman's going to stay on the lead lap just. Oh, no, he's not.
Oh,
no, he's not.
No. Big crash.
That's the leader that's gone through.
And he got into it big time with Arabia Caton.
Yeah, Caton just didn't realize he was on the left coming out of pit lane. There's a bunch of drivers come down to pit lane right now. Here it is.
Oh, man. I mean, sure, the spotter would have called out there was a car to his left-hand side by then, right?
Yeah, should have. But he's like, where did he come from? There was no car there. Pit lane exit.
There's a few pit exits you got to be wary about with that, right? I know on the Australian side, Phillip Island is a huge contender with that pit entry exiting out right into the middle of the extremely high-speed front straightaway at Phillip Island circuit. Road America, another place you have to watch out for potentially. Yeah, there's not a lot of pit roads that exit directly onto the racing line, but almost every race, it's almost a tradition that you're gonna get involved in that as well. Martin Plute down the inside, he's gonna lose it again. Same corner, 2 laps later, he's gonna spin it. Ronnie Norman slips through.
When Plute's been on a resurgence, he's been trying to drive his way back through the field. Gibson, I think, just pit as well. So he was the driver that's going the longest. 5 to go. What do we get in that caution? Actually, yeah, it is 5 to go.
Well, the rules
No way we go
state,
for overtime again.
the rules state there must be a yellow flag at some point before the end of this race. There does not appear to be any restriction on when it comes out. We've got 4.5 laps, though, for it at this point in time. Ryan Shelton continued to lead the way. 4.2 seconds clear of Kyle Holden. Right now, virtually unopposed. He can save all the tires he wants in preparation.
No reason to take any life out of them right now. And the big thing is get their temperature down and maintain it down. That's where you make the big gains.
Shelton going to continue to try and maintain. He will take 4 laps to go. Zachary Cox has gone in hot. Kind of wiggling that back end. I'd be nervous on Ryan Shelton because Cox has had a few problems today, and he kind of cuts the nose off of the race leader there. Blue flags will be waving for that number 25. Remember, blue flags in iRacing, or at least on oval racing, right? More of a suggestion than an actual rule.
Oh, here it is.
Caution is out. There it is. Cup yellow on the racetrack. And this race is being sent to overtime.
Oh, boy. Who's got the fuel?
That's a very
Who's
good
got the
question.
fuel?
I'm willing to bet nobody.
Yeah, I do feel like we're going to see a lot of guys pit.
Well, this race is about to get wild here at America's home for motorsports. Ryan Shelton has been the dominant car all day long. We will see if that dominance will remain a factor when we return on Green Flag TV in just a moment. Stay with us. We'll be back with overtime.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Green Flag TV. We are seconds away from returning to Green Flag racing action here this afternoon from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. My name is Lorenzo, once again alongside Scott Rankin for all of racing action here from start to finish. Scott, a big turn of events here on this one, obviously. With how this race has panned out, we are now in overtime with the mandatory comp yellow coming out extremely late. Several drivers are vulnerable on tires. Critically, the top 4 have all stayed out.
Yep. I don't think they had much of a choice. Steven Gibson came down just recently, so he's going to have massively better tires than the rest of them. The big thing I think for Gibson is he needed to focus on these couple of laps on making sure he got some temperature into those tires. So the fact that he is not going after temperature in those tires, he's going to be on cold tires for that first lap. That second lap, he should be supremely quick compared to everyone he's around, but yeah, first lap is going to be in trouble.
The Zero Torque Racing.
6 cars on the lead lap.
The Zero Torque recently kicks off their racing action tomorrow night at Daytona International Speedway. The Average Joe Sim Racing League was there earlier this afternoon. And it's not the only series that's going to the Sunshine, say, in the next few days, as the Mid-Atlantic Racing Series will also be down there, albeit at Homestead Miami Speedway for race number 5 of their championship. Short track racing for the SR Gen 4 Series, they will be at Iowa alongside the Average Joe Sim Racing League over the next week as well. Scott, I'm going to be dangerous here. Do you have a pick to win this race?
Are you asking me for me to commentators curse someone? Ethan Amberg. No, Martin Plute. Martin Plute. Let's curse him some.
I don't think you're supposed to admit that right out of the gate. You're supposed to keep that in the back pocket here, man.
It literally happened yesterday. I was commentating another series and I said, the only way this driver can't win the race from here is if a caution comes out. 3 laps later, caution.
Caution came out, yeah.
Yeah.
It'll get you.
Realistically, from the front end of this one, look, Shelton's got control. He's got the inside of the one. Carl Holden can break him. Absolutely can break him. I think he's going to have slightly worse tires, but he's a shot. Ethan Amberg's an outside shot to win this one after driving through the field, too.
Well, Gibson, though, is on 10-lap fresh tires, and everybody in front of him, he's on the lead lap in 5th place. So he could be in the catbird seat as well. Green flag's up in the air. It is overtime for Homestead Miami Speedway. Shelton gets away well, side by side between Holden and Scott. And Holden in too deep. Holden's into the wall. Holden, Brad Kozlowski's into the tire wall at turn 1. And just like that, any chances of winning are gone.
Yeah, he drove an amazing race. Really challenged them. Took him to the absolute last couple of laps. Made sure that Shelton had to earn this one. And, well, they used to call it heartburn turn. I think it's heartbreak turn for Carl Holden.
Philip Scott now trying to see if he can run down Ryan Shelton in the closing laps. But right now, Shelton virtually unopposed at the front end of the field. Already walking out a 9/10 of a second gap up here. And that is not a gap that is looking to go in. There's one. Look out, Philip Scott! Scott sideways! And Shelton has to go across the chicane to go evasive. Here comes Gibson!
No way.
Gibson might have a chance here, because Shelton's going to have a slowdown penalty.
He's going to have to clear it. But again, remember, he served one earlier in this race. A little bit smarter. Gibson's got the tire advantage, though. But Shelton's been saving him. Both of them have a wriggle across the road in the final turn.
Shelton took the very wise move to clear that one out the rest of the way by braking super early for the final chicane to just get it out of the way so he could gas it out of the final chicane, which he has done to perfection here. Kyle Holden is into pit road. He is calling it quits. And Shelton looking set to cruise away. Oh, we got more trouble. Look out as Austin and Plute both go spinning sideways. Oh, and Jeremiah Vincent gets collected. Niximus Plute went full throttle. Now backs across the track into McFadden and into Arabia Caton. Multi-car crash as Shelton continues to pull away.
Wow. Who doesn't love overtime finishes?
Overtime at a road course. About as chaotic as it gets. Working into the final corner now. We're into the final corners. Ryan Shelton, last lap by, had to jump across the chicane to avoid a spinning Philip Scott. This time, clear by 2 seconds. Shelton will look to end his championship run off on a high. He will not be fighting for a title because he has withdrawn. And Shelton will work the final corner. He'll take one final win. No, maybe not. Maybe not. He cuts across the chicane. Gibson closing in.
Did he clear
Shelton
it?
got
Did
him.
he clear it?
I think Shelton just manages to clear it. But boy, that had to have been close. And
we have to wait. The problem we have is we have to wait for the field to finish. We have to wait for the field to finish to tell if he got it done.
I'm not seeing a black flag indicator yet.
But he should know. 2 cars left across the finish line. No, he's good. He's okay. He got it done.
Oh boy. What a ride for Ryan Shelton.
Something happened to Ethan Amberg too in the final chicane.
Finishing 13 seconds back for Amberg. This is why.
Oh, Amberg and Phil Scott went around in the final chicane. There's a whole bunch of cars. Check this out.
Both cars locked it on up. Minazzi Majors said, okay, let me just tiptoe my way on through here. Tim Branson did similar. Right on board first with Minazzi Major, who was right behind the incident. Bit of a how do you do there from 2 different individuals. And then Tim Branson arrives on scene and just slips right through the middle. Oh, and Major got turned again coming across the line. Boy, talk about a wild dogfight of a finish here this afternoon. I mean, that it doesn't get much more chaotic than that for overtime at a road course. Well, let's take a rundown of your official post-race results here this afternoon as Ryan Shelton closes out the regular series season on a high with a race win. 6/10 back with Steven Gibson, and Ethan Amberg will finish this race third for spinning out of the final chicane. Scott did the same. He just beats Ronnie Norman to the line for the last position on the lead lap. From there, Kirby, Montembeau, Vincent, Barrett, and Austin close out the top 10.
Outside the 10, Kyle Holden is not going to finish this one at the end of the green flag lap in our overtime finish. Martin Plute from Nick Cote, Minazzi Major, Ryan Newman, Stacey Hunter, all at 2 laps down. 3 laps down, we go back to Iron Oshie with his mid-race issues. Tim Branson, Mark McFadden, and Arabia Caton, 4 and 6 laps down for both of those 2 guys.
Then it's Dan Hausman, Corey Hutchinson, Zachary Cox, Zach Hinson, Caleb Ash, Jason Shoes, Scott Leonard, and Nate Cotilla will bring up the tail of the field. The bottom 2 drivers not even making it out of the first 10 laps of this race. Boy, a chaotic way to finish out racing action here this afternoon, and we'll get the chance to give a chit-chat in with all of the drivers that bring it home to get it done for the last race of the regular series season. And we'll look to talk first and foremost with Ryan Shelton. Shelton going to be walking it off here with yet another win on his Speed Cup Series career. Ryan, this win came with a bit of hecticness in the closing stages there as you had to kind of fend off the field. First, let's talk about Kyle Holden, right? Obviously the big contender entering that green-white checkered finish. How did you feel when you noticed that he was in the wall behind you at turn 1?
Well, I relieved a lot of anxiety about getting the bumper taken to me at the hairpin. Because I figured if I could just get away from him, I had a good chance at winning. I feel like we had the rest of the field covered for the most part. I think we had like a 40-second lead over the rest of the field. But I mean, with a green-white checkered at a track like this where it is just one little tiny little mistake that you make will absolutely destroy your lap or put you in a wall. It was scary for most of that green-white checkered.
And well, Philip Scott became the second driver to almost take you out at the exact same point later on in the lap, right? Into the backstretch chicane, you locked up the rears, and you ended up throttled up and going evasive, and that could have been what ended up saving your race. You had that, and then you had the slowdown. How close are you to getting a post-race penalty for not serving that slowdown in time coming off of the final chicane?
Oh, it was really close. When I was just trying to put down a really fast lap just to get away from everybody and just put something and try to get a really good lap in, try to get fastest lap. Unfortunately, I absolutely screwed it going into the last corner and really just messed it up. And luckily I had enough of a gap to Steven to kind of clear that slowdown enough to make the finish.
Well, looking into what's coming up next, obviously you have retired from the chase contention. You're not going to be looking to fight it out for a championship here. But despite that, you're 1 win away from 20. Will you be the first driver to hit 20 wins in Speed Cup Series history before the end of the season?
No. So the reason why I'm out is because I won't be racing much at all for the next couple of years. I'll be moving to night shift. So unfortunately, I won't be able to attend any more races. This is going to be my last one for a little while. Whenever I get done, I'll be back, and hopefully that will still be an elusive number for everybody. I'm looking to get the first to 20, but it's going to be a couple of years before I get back.
Well, we'll wish you the best of luck in your new job positioning, and we'll wish you the best of luck with whatever life brings you coming on up here. Congratulations on taking win number 19 today. And we'll see you whenever we see you on the racetrack next.
Yeah, man. Thanks for putting us on, and it's been fun to be here. Especially being with these guys. It's gonna suck not being here with them, and it's gonna really suck not talking to you.
Shelton comes home number 1 here this afternoon, and well, we'll move on up to Steven Gibson, the driver that comes home number 2 for the Vincent Motorsports crew, and Scott, you are standing by with number 2 on the afternoon.
It's a man who I think is a little bit surprised to be sitting here in the podium. Got very, very close to a race win in the end. Steven Gibson, fresh tires at the back end of the race. Was this the plan, was just to run it as long as possible, hang on for that yellow and see if you could make something work with fresh tires?
Yeah, that was kind of the plan. I mean, I didn't expect the caution to really throw out, like, at the last second. I was kind of hoping it would go more towards lap 10, which is where I think I pitted around and hope that the fresh tires would catch up on the back end. I mean, once I heard the leaders pitted, I just knew eventually I would have to flip because the caution was coming, and just kind of worked out in our favor there with Ethan and them spinning out right in front of me, going into the second to last chicane. That was just nutty. I kind of backed off to give Ethan the good braking zone, and somehow he and Philip, I think it was Philip, both kind of just got in too deep and spun out. And yeah, I'm kind of amazed I'm even in this position, to be honest.
Hey, look, challenging night out there. I think the biggest thing, and I think that restart sort of encompassed. Basically, it took that 50-lap race and condensed it down into sort of 2 laps. A lot of guys with issues with cold tires, hot tires, old tires, and just getting the car stopped. Talk us through that backstretch chicane on that restart lap, because you go in there 4th, and every car ahead of you fails to make that chicane.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to take it easy. I wasn't really looking to, really run hard. I just needed a good points day to make sure we solidified ourselves into the playoffs. So just wanted to finish good, and I just kind of braked a little bit before the 7 to just give him room. I didn't want him to think I was going to dive bomb him or anything for the last turn. And yeah, it some people had better braking zone tolerance, like Kyle and Ryan. They were able to really get into the braking zones deeper and not seem to lock up the front, whereas I didn't feel comfortable doing that over 50 laps, so I just kind of chose to back it off. I chose really after I'd pit the first time to run it real soft and hopefully not have to pit, and just hope I could get an early caution and just ride it out. But didn't seem to work in our favor there.
And finally, brother, who would you like to give a thank you and a shout out to? Because I know this one's going to be a happy result. A lot of work goes into finally getting a podium, particularly at this level in this series, and this one's going to be remembered for a while.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank Stan and them for hosting Speed. This is a great, racing league, one of the best racing leagues I've ever been in. Everybody seems to be clean and fair. And some people get a little bit aggravated sometimes, but it seems to kind of blow over into the next week. And I'd just like to thank them for managing the league and keeping it going, because without this, we wouldn't really have anywhere good to race. Officials have kind of tanked as of lately, so this is one of the nice good places where I can be able to race and have good finishes.
Mate, congratulations on P2. Go celebrate with the boys and enjoy this one, and we'll catch you again next week.
Yep, thank you.
And finally, Nolan, we're going to take a step down to the final step on the rostrum. Ethan Amber got spun turn 1, lap 1, had to drive his way back through the field, and he's alongside of you now.
Ethan comes home third for Highline Motorsports here this afternoon. Quite the journey that you had here, Ethan. You got turned lap 1, turn 1, and throughout a long, grueling, what ended up being a 52-lap race, you fight back and finish on the podium. How does it feel?
Pretty good, actually. With as chaotic as that was, I'm surprised I'm standing here talking to you guys. That was definitely something else. It was actually pretty fun getting to drive back up through the field and try to run fast laps while still keeping it clean around everybody. It was actually pretty fun, even though I was pretty frustrated while having to do it. But ended up being some really awesome racing out there on the track. That was probably one of the more mentally fatiguing races I've done in a while.
Of course, this layout, a new one to the Speed Cup Series. Last time we were at this racetrack, we were on the older 2023 or 2019 rendition of this racetrack up to 2024. Your take on the new layout of Charlotte Motor Speedway's Roval? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Or are you somewhere in the middle?
I think I'm pretty comfortable saying I'm pretty in the middle on it. I don't think it's better than the original one. It's definitely more challenging, I think. I'll give it that. That whole new section is really tough to learn. I spent probably over 90 laps of practice, 100 laps of practice this week trying to get it down, and never quite felt like I got it where I wanted to, but it was enough to be competitive and have fun. I'd give it a solid below most of the other road courses that we run in the Cup car. But not worse than the old layout.
Well, the chase is right around the corner, a 5-race shootout. The Speed Cup Series has never had a repeat champion in its history. Are you looking to become the 5th different champion in this league's history?
It's something to look forward to. It's not something that you necessarily plan on, but it'd be really cool to do that. I think the playoffs this year suit my strengths pretty well. There's just a couple short courses in the last 3 races there, and I do like short tracks, so hopefully we can build up some points. We're going to reset the points here after this week and get back at it and have some fun.
All right, we'll wish you the best of luck when we go racing once again, Ethan. Congratulations on taking home 3rd, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, Nolan. Thank you, Scott. Appreciate it, guys.
Ethan Amber comes home 3rd this afternoon, and well, Scott, we have the list of drivers that is into the playoffs here this afternoon. The drivers are Cosmo Inoshu, Philip Scott, Ethan Amber, Manatzi Major, Ronnie Norman, Nicholas Coates, Stephen Gibson, Justin Mello, Jeremiah Vincent, and Garrett Austin. Those will be the drivers that will fight it out for a championship over the next 5 weeks of racing action for the Highline Diecast Collectibles Speed Cup Series. A lot of drivers that have never been a champion, and in fact, I don't think any of them have ever been a champion. So a new champion going into season number 5, looking to be confirmed as not one champion that has won this league in the past will be in the chase in season 5.
Yeah, a big opportunity though, but I think the red hot favorite at the moment is, and 4 wins, 7 podiums on the regular season, but from 11 starts. So that means only 4 of those starts he missed out on finishing on the podium. How is that from Cosmo Inoshu? He comes in as the driver on form, and we sort of seen him turn that wick up where he started back at the start of the season, and we've seen this sort of maybe over the last sort of 8 to 10 months from his driving behaviors as well, as he's just sort of slowly and steadily been stepping it up and getting better and better and better and better. I got to admit, he's just got to go out there and just be nice and smooth and happy with the way that his race car is performing. He gives himself a good opportunity. He's going to be tough to beat.
He and many others will all be tough cookies to crack here this afternoon. But before we go to more racing action, there's still plenty more action still yet to come here on Greenflight TV. When we go racing next, it will be this coming Friday. The Zero Toy Racing League kicks off their newest season at the Daytona International Speedway, while the SRA Gen 4 Series will take to Iowa. Blazing Pedals on Sunday will see a swing to the Lady in Black. They'll be seeing who can tame the Darlington Raceway. The Mid-Atlantic Race Series back for more on Tuesday afternoon. They will be at Homestead Miami Speedway, with the OMSRO Gold Series at the legacy version of Atlanta Motor Speedway. And the Premier Sim Racing Outlap Motorsports Truck Series going to be out at the Chicagoland Speedway on Wednesday. If you want to find out more about who we are and what we can offer you, check us out today at www.greenflagtv.com. 5 races are left in the season, and yet this is where the championship enters its zenith phase. The aggression about to kick up, the drama that has been present all season long, set to continue to be a hot factor all the way into the final weeks here of the season. Next week, it's a trip to Las Vegas Motor Speedway for the Tim Branch's All Elite Wrestling 90. Vegas, known as one of NASCAR's fastest and most dangerous mile and a halves. We'll see who will be kicking the chase off strong when we go racing in Nevada.